Well, hello, welcome again to a reading through of Genesis from the Septuagint, and I got up to chapter 4. So, Adam de egno Ewan ten gunaika autu kai sulabusa eteken ton Kain kai apen ektesamen anthropon dia tu theou kai pros eth theken te Kain ton adelphon autu ton Abel kai ageneto Abel poimen probaton Kain de ein ergat zomenos ten gain. So I'll just pause it there. So Adam knew, this is that euphemism of slept with his wife Uan. Now this is the Havachta, which is transliterated here as Yuan, whence our word Eve, which is interesting because in the previous section, back in verse 20 of the previous chapter, he named her Zoe, which was the literal meaning, but here she's called Eve. Kai Sulabusa, this is from Sulambano, it has that meaning of to become pregnant. It's got a range of meanings, Sulambano, but one of which is referring to women becoming pregnant. Eteken from Tikto, and she bore Cain and said, Ektasame, this is from Kataamai. If you're looking it up, this is Kataamai. It normally means to possess or to acquire, and it here mirrors the Hebrew word kanat. Here has that same meaning. So she said, I have acquired a man, dear to Theou. Well, something like perhaps with the help of God. The Hebrew here has eth, meaning with the help of God. Interestingly here, the Hebrew has got Theou, which is normally the rendering of Elohim, but the Hebrew here, for the first time, has Yahweh by itself, and the Greek has Theos, which is interesting. So, Kai pros etheken tekain tonadelphon autu ton Abel. Now, this is a very common Hebraism here. This is from pros tithemi, which means to place in addition to, and hence to add. And we get this very common idiom in the Septuagint, in the Greek Septuagint, which is based on a Hebrew expression. It means to continue, to do something in addition to. So often just rendered, it normally takes an infinitive here. So, and it's something like she continued on Tekain, to bear, to give birth to his brother Abel. Then this construction is very common in the Septuagint. So pros tithemi plus infinitive, to continue to do something or to do in addition to. And Kai ageneto Abel, and Abel became a shepherd of sheep, but Cain was the one working the land. Kai ageneto methemeras einen ken Cain apoton carpon tes ges thusian to curio. Kai Abel einen ken kai autos apoton prototokon ton probaton autu kai apoton stiaton auton. I'll just pause it there. And it came to pass after days. So after some days it happened that, now we don't get that in the Greek, we've got two verbs here. It came to pass after those days, that understand that Cain, this is from Pharaoh, he offered to the Lord, so this is going to be Yahweh, from the fruits of the land, he offered a sacrifice. So it came to pass after some days that Cain offered a sacrifice to the Lord from the fruits of the earth, and Abel Again, this is Pharaoh again, something like he himself offered also himself from the proto-tokon, from the firstborn, the tok root from tikto, of his sheep, or perhaps of his flock, and from their stiartone is from stiar with a row, if you're looking it up. Stiar with a row, stiartos is the genitive. It means animal fat. And God ep aiden. So this is something like literally looked upon, but it has the sense of paid attention to. The Hebrew word here is sahar, and it also means just to look upon, but it also has that sense of pay attention to. So, God, so this is Elohim, looked upon Abel and upon his gifts, but upon Cain and upon his sacrifices, prosesken. Now this is from proseko, to pay attention to, or to give heed to. So he did not give heed to Cain and to his sacrifices. Now this is an interesting example here, because in the Hebrew the words that are translated epaden and prosesken are the same word. So this is an interesting example of variatio, that is, where the translator uses two different Greek words with roughly the same meaning to translate the same Hebrew word. This appears to be quite a common feature of the Genesis, well, in fact, of the Pentateuch. Kai elupesen, and he grieved Cain exceedingly. This is again quite a common use of lian, Hebrew mod. It's very common. So he grieved Cain excessively. So he caused Cain excessive grief. And sun epesen to prosopo, again another Hebraism, literally he fell upon his face, or fell in, literally, well, fell upon. Sun pipto has a funny range of meanings. It's a Hebrew idiom here. It really best to translate it, his countenance fell, or literally his face fell. The Hebrew has his faces fell. So it's something like his countenance. In other words, he was in a bad mood. And the Lord God said to Cain, Hinati perilupos egenu, kai hinati son epesen ton prosopon su. Now this this hinati is again a late expression, although it does occur in Plato. In some editions of Plato, it's written as one word, hinati, written as one word. It's an ellipse for something, some other expression here, but it just means why. So when you see hinati in the Septuagint and in Plato, for that matter, it often just means why. So why have you become perilupos, very grieved, and why, there it is again, has your countenance fallen? Literally, have you fallen on your face? Has your countenance, or perhaps you have fallen in respect of your face, so your countenance has fallen. Uk ean orthos prosenenkes orthos deme di eles hamates. He zukason pros se he apostrophe autu kai su axes autu. Now this is a rather tricky little section here. The uk, I think, goes with the he zukason. This is an imperative from he zukadzo. And you would expect it with may, not with u. So it's something like, sorry, no, I'm not saying, sorry, the uk goes with hemates. Sorry, you haven't, and it's a question, have you not sinned? Sorry, yes, the uk goes with hemat. This is an imperative after that. Have you not sinned if you offered, understand it, orthos, correctly or rightly, but you did not divide it correctly. Now, exactly what that means is not totally clear. In other words, perhaps it's got the sense of you went to give your offering, but you didn't separate it correctly or divide it correctly. Hezu Kasson, imperative, something like quieten down or be quiet, calm down. Now this next bit's very odd. It's not that dissimilar to what we saw back in 3:16, where God is speaking to Eve. And in fact, the same word is used, the apostrophe. So it's literally his inclination, perhaps his desire, possibly it may mean submission. So it's his submission is with regard to you, and as though he was speaking now to Abel, and you will rule him. You will rule over him. That is, you, Abel, will rule over him. So it's rather obscure here. It seems to be saying that Cain has to take a subordinate role to his brother, and his brother's going to have power over him. The Hebrew is completely different. The Hebrew for this section says, if you do well, will not your face be lifted up? And if you do not do well, this is for this whole of this section, if you do not do well, sin is lurking at the door, and its desire is for you, hence the apostrophe, but you must master it. So it may well be that this may be, in this suggestion, this may have been the original intention of the writer, and then in the Masoretic text it's come down to us, the verses have been changed at some particular point of time to give it a completely different meaning. Anyway, I'll leave that to the commentators to discuss. Kai Apen Kain pros Abel ton adelphon autu di elthomen eis torpedion. So it was, and Cain said to Abel his brother, let us go through into the plain. And it came, Kai ageneto ento Ainai autus ento pedio kai aneste Kain epiabel ton adelphon autu kai apectinon auton. Kai apen hotheos pros Kain pu estin Abel ho adelphos su, hode apen u ginosko, me fulax tu adelphu mu ami ego, kai apen hotheos ti epoiesas, phone haimatos tu adelphu su boa, pros me ectes ges, kai nun epikataratos su apotes ges, he ekanentos stoma autes dexastai to haima tu adelphu su ectes kairos su. So I'll just break pause there. So, and it came to pass, now we get ento plus the infinitive. So when they were in the plain, so it happened that they were in the plain, and Cain arose, stood up literally against his brother Abel, and apectinen from apoctano, and killed him. And God said to Cain, Pu estin, where is Abel your brother? Hodiepen, and he said, U ginosko, I don't know. And then we get this famous line, Me fulax tu adelphu mu ami ego. Am I the guard of my brother? So am I my brother's keeper? And it's It's a question expecting the answer no, with the may. So surely I am not the guard of my brother, literally. Am I my brother's keeper? And God said, what have you done? The voice, hymatos, this is genitive of hyma, the voice of the blood of your brother, Bo'ar from Bo'ar cries out to me from the land. And now you, and here's that word again we've had several times, epikataratos. We had it in reference to the office, the snake, and in reference to the land, and now it's being used against Cain. And you are cursed from the land, hey, which, ekanin, this is from casco, if you're looking it up, good old classical word, casco, to gape, or to gape wide open, so which is opened wide its mouth, this is the earth, to receive the blood of your brother from your hand. Hoti ergar tangain kai u prostese ten iskun artes dunai soi. Stenon kai tremon esse epites geis. Kai apen kain pros ton kurion medzen he aitia mu tu aphethenai me. A ekbales me semeron apo prosoputes geis kai apo tu prosopus su crubasamai. Kai esamai stenon kai tremon epites geis. Kai estai pas ho heuriscon me apoktene me. So let's pause there. Now we get this hoti again, as I mentioned before. Hoti is used to translate key in Hebrew, and you've got to look at the context. Sometimes this hoti is going to be used in place of a, and so it is here. So if ergar, this is some kind of very funny second person form from ergasdamai, so it must be something like ergasai, and then sigma drops out and you get all the contractions. So if you till or you work the land, and here's that use of prostithemi again, to continue, and it will not now these kais we get constantly, you can't really translate it, it's a Hebraism. So if you work the land, it will not continue. Dunai takes an infinitive to give to you its strength, literally. So if you work the land, it will not continue to give you its strength. You will be groaning and trembling upon the earth. Interesting use, it's a periphrastic future here, but it's using the verb ami. This is second person SMI, and SA is the second person, and then it's using present participles. So you will be groaning and trembling upon the land. Kai apen, and Cain said to the Lord, Medzon hai itia. Now itia normally means blame, or often used in earlier Greek for a charge, an offence. Here probably guilt, I think. So my guilt is more, now we're getting a genitive of comparison, more than, is greater, my guilt is greater than for me to be forgiven. This is from aphiemi. It's an aorist passive infinitive. It's got a range of meanings. It can mean to be released from. It's a bit like our expression. The Hebrew, by the way, has for the carrying, a bit like our expression than I can bear. But the Greek has my guilt is more than, well, perhaps to be taken away from me, or to be so as to be forgiven. Very slightly odd line here. My guilt is greater than can be forgiven to me, or can be taken away from me. If we take that other meaning of aphiemi. But if you cast me out today from the face of the earth and from your face, perhaps presence here for the prosopon, from your face, Cru basamai, this is that future again from sort of a future passive, but it's got a, it's from crypto, literally I will be hidden. And you could actually take that back with this bit here. So if you cast me out from the face of the land, also I will be hidden from your presence, from your face. And we get again the SMI stenon kai tremon, and I will be groaning and trembling upon the earth, and pas ho heuriscon me apoktene me. Kai epen auto kurios theos hutos, paso apoktenas kain, hepta ekdicumena paraluse. Kai etheta kurios theos se meon ton to Kain, tu me an Helene auton pantaton heurisconta auton. Exaelthen de Kain apoprosopu tu theou kai oikasin enge naid cat enanti edim. So I will be trembling, yeah, and everyone, and it will be, Estai, future from Amy, it will be that everyone finding me, apoktene, will kill me. So this is the future from apokteno, will kill me. And the Lord God said to him, Uk hutos, it will not be thus. Everyone who is, each person having killed Cain, so we would say anyone who kills Cain, very funny expression here, hepta ek dicumina paraluse. It's often translated something like he will pay the penalty 7 times. He will suffer vengeance several times. Now the paraluse here is, I think this must mean something like he will bring down, he will bring down on himself a penalty 7 times as worse. So I think that's what the paraluse is doing here. I think it's a funny expression here again. So anyone who kills Cain will bring down upon himself a penalty 7 times worse. I think it's about the best I can do with that for the paraluse. Will release things which are penalties. This is a participle form from ekdicio, getting vengeance upon, so penalty 7 times worse. Kaetheta kurios, and the Lord God placed a semeion, a sign, we're not told what it is, a sign for Cain, sometimes called the mark of Cain, tu me anhelon. So this is 2 plus the infinitive. Anhelane, again from anhyrio, to take out, to kill, so as not to kill, so that everyone finding him will not kill him. And Cain went out from the presence of God, literally from the face of God, and he dwelt, oikio, in the land of Nod, cat enanti, opposite Edom. Kai egno Cain tena gunaika autu kai solabusa etekon ton Enoch. Kai ein oikodomon polin kai en ep onomasintain polin epito onomatitu huiu autu Enoch. Egenethe de to Enoch gaidad. Kai gaidad egenesen ton Mael. Kai Mael egenesen ton Methuselah. Kai Methuselah egenesen ton Lamech. Kai eleban auto Lamech duo gunaikes onomate mea ada onomate deutera sella. I might just pause there. And Cain knew his wife, so had intercourse with his wife, and she becoming pregnant, she bore Enoch. And he was, again, this periphrastic use of which you don't get in classical Greek, but becomes more common in biblical Greek. He was the one, oikodomio is to build. He was the one building a city, and he named the city after the name of his son Enoch. And Gaidad was born to Enoch, and Gaidad begat Mael, and Mael begat Methuselah, and Methuselah begat Lamech, and Lamech took to himself, from Lambano, 2 wives. The name of the one was Ada, and the name of the second was Selah. Kai eteken adaton Iobel, hutosen hapater oikunton en skenais, katena trophone. Kai onomatoa delpho autu Eubal, hutosen hot catadexas psal terion kai kithuran. Selah de eteken kai aute ton thobel, kai ein spherokopos, calcius calcu kai sideru, adelphe de thobel noema. Just pause it there. So we've had Methuselah, he took to himself 2 wives, I've said that bit there. Oh, and Ada bore Eobel, and he was the father of those dwelling in tents from Skene. Catadexas from Catadake Numi. It is from Dake Numi, but this word comes to mean to discover or make known, and hence invent. So he was the one inventing the psalter, the psalterion, and the harp, the kithara, which was well known to the Greeks. But Selah de eteken, and Selah also herself bore Thobel, and he was the spherokopos calcius. Literally, what do you say for this? One who, well, this means one who beats the hammer. It's from the spheros, I think is the word, and then kopos, one who beats the hammer. The Hebrew has one who sharpens. This is probably a neologism here, and the word only occurs here. This is a smith. So he is a smith who beats the hammer, and he's a smith of bronze and iron. And Noema was the sister of Thobel. So the sister of Thobel was Noema. Apen de Lamech tai siau tu gunaixin, and Lamech said to his wives, to the wives of himself. Now the editor has put this here in a kind of poetic form, because apparently it must be some kind of poetry here, but it's a very strange section. So Ada kai Selah acousati mu tes phones, gunaikas Lamech enotisas the mutus logus. Hotiandra apectena es trauma emoi kai neaniskon es molopa emoi hoti heptakis ek dedicatai en Cain ende Lamech heptome contakis hepta. Very strange section here. So Ada and Selah, hear my voice, you wives of Lamech. This is from a verb enotisdamai. It's to give ear to. It's got that os, utos root in here, the ear. Hearken to, so give ear to my words, because I have killed a man. Odd expression here, ace trauma, literally for a wound, but possibly having the sense of in return for a wound for me. In other words, because he wounded me, in regard to a wound for me. So because he wounded me, and I've killed a young man as moloper emoi, same construction as above here, because he because there was a bruise for me. This is from Molopes. It means a bruise or a welt, and so something like because he bruised me. So I killed a man, literally as in return for a wound against me, and I killed a young man in return for a bruise against me, so because he bruised me. Hoti for a again, so if, now here's this reference to Cain, so if he extracted vengeance from Cain, heptarchis 7 times, from Lamech, understand, he will extract vengeance 70 times 7. Again, I'll leave the commentators to expound that. Egno de Adam wian ten gunaika atu kai sulabusa etikon huion kai en ep nomesento onomus su seth legusa ex anastesen garmoi hotheos sperma heteron anti Abel hon apectenan Cain kai to seth the genitor huios ep nomesen de to onoma autu Enosh hutos Aelpisen epikales thita onoma kuriu to Theou. And Adam knew his wife Eve, and having become pregnant, she bore a son, and they named his name Seth, saying, God has raised up, this is ex Anna and Histemi, God has raised up for me another seed, so another offspring, in return for Abel, whom Cain killed. And there was a son for Seth, and they named his name Enoch or Enos, and he, now we get El Pisdo here, meaning he hoped to call upon the name of the Lord God. The Hebrew has he began to call, it's just the usual word for calling. Here they've chosen to use the word from El Pisdo, so he hoped to call upon the name of the Lord God. And that is the end of chapter 4.